At 4:18 on a clear Wednesday afternoon, Officer Aaron McKay placed Mara Ellison's registration on the hood of her Rolls-Royce. The name on the registration was Mara Ellison. The name on her license was also Mara Ellison. Across the driveway, Gwen Halpern held an Ashford Glen Association badge against her blouse. The association has no record of her buying this house. McKay looked at the mansion behind Mara. Then he looked at the silver car. He did not return the registration. On his tablet, the caller's status remained active. Authorized property representative. Mara stood beside the driver's door. A paper grocery bag rested near her feet. One orange had rolled onto the driveway. 3 neighbors held phones toward her. Paige Denson's live stream showed more than 800 viewers. Calvin Rourke stood beside his mailbox. Ruth Camden remained near the edge of her lawn. Her phone stayed in one hand. "Is the vehicle yours?" McKay asked. "Yes." Mara pointed toward the registration. "The document matches my license." McKay looked down at the 2 names again. "They match. Then why is the call still open?" McKay turned the tablet slightly away from her. "The property representative disputes ownership." Mara looked past him. Gwen raised the association badge higher. "I am the HOA president." The badge carried Gwen's name. It did not carry Mara's address. The previous morning, a moving truck had stopped outside the mansion. Mara had directed the crew from the driveway. She wore jeans and a white shirt. A mover had lost his grip on a wooden crate. Mara stepped under one corner. She held it until another worker reached the steps. Calvin watched from 2 houses away. He spoke without leaving his driveway. "Looks like the housekeeper is helping unload." Mara looked toward him. Calvin turned back to his hedge trimmer. Gwen watched from her porch. She sent Ruth a message before noon. Did the association receive the closing packet? Ruth answered 6 minutes later. Private sales do not require association approval. The message remained on Ruth's phone. No correction appeared in the neighborhood group. Late that afternoon, the garage door opened. A pearl-silver Rolls-Royce Ghost sat inside. Paige recorded the car from behind her fence. The next day, Mara drove it home. She stopped in front of her own garage. She removed one grocery bag from the passenger seat. Gwen called dispatch before Mara reached the front steps. Dispatcher Elise Warren asked Gwen's relationship to the property. HOA, President. "Do you manage the residence?" "I am responsible for this neighborhood." Elise selected a caller category, Authorized Property Representative. She did not request an authorization document. Gwen reported a possible vehicle theft. She did not report broken glass. She did not report forced entry. She did not provide a stolen plate. She said a woman had arrived with a car that did not belong there. The theft code moved to McKay's patrol screen. Paige began streaming before the cruiser stopped. McKay approached Mara beside the open car door. "Step away from the vehicle." Mara set the grocery bag down. She took one step toward the lawn. Both hands remained visible. McKay asked for identification. Mara held her license for a moment. Then, she placed it in his hand. Her electronic registration opened on her phone. McKay copied the vehicle identification number. Dispatch found no stolen report. The plate matched the Rolls-Royce. The registered owner matched Mara's license. McKay sent the result over his radio. Registration matches the driver. Elise looked at the caller field. Gwen still appeared as the authorized representative. Caller maintains the vehicle does not belong there. Mara picked up the orange. She placed it back inside the grocery bag. "Which property does she represent?" McKay looked toward Gwen. Gwen stepped to the edge of Mara's driveway. The association monitors ownership changes. Ruth lowered her eyes to the phone in her hand. Mara pointed toward the front door. "That is my address." McKay checked the license again. The address matched the mansion. "Do you have proof of the property purchase?" Mara looked at the registration on the hood. The officer had already confirmed the car. The complaint still held her beside it. "I can get the deed." McKay kept her license. "You can retrieve it." Mara walked toward the front steps. Paige turned the camera toward the house. Calvin moved closer to the mailbox. She might not come back. Gwen folded both arms. Ruth opened the message she had sent the day before. Private sales do not require association approval. The words remained on the screen. Ruth did not cross the street. The front door closed behind Mara. On McKay's tablet, the vehicle owner field showed her name. Below it, Gwen's caller status still showed authority over the property. One field had been verified. The other had only been claimed. The front door remained closed for 3 minutes. Paige kept her phone aimed at the entrance. Calvin stood beside the mailbox. She is taking her time. McKay placed Mara's registration beside his notepad. The vehicle identification number remained visible. Every number matched the Rolls-Royce. Gwen stepped closer to the driveway. You should check the garage. McKay looked toward her. Did you see her take the vehicle? I saw her arrive with it. That is not the same thing. Gwen touched the association badge on her blouse. I know who lives here. Ruth looked down at her phone. The message to Gwen remained open. Private sales do not require association approval. Ruth locked the screen. The front door opened. Mara returned with a thin leather folder. She walked down the driveway. The phones moved with her. McKay cleared a space on the hood. Mara opened the folder. The paper registration came first. An insurance certificate followed. A vehicle purchase agreement rested beneath it. McKay compared the registration with the windshield number. The numbers matched. He compared the insurance record with Mara's license. The names matched. He raised his radio. Vehicle ownership confirmed. Elise Warren entered the update. The vehicle field changed to verified owner. The theft code remained active. McKay looked at his tablet. Why is the incident still open? Elise checked the caller section. The authorized property representative still disputes possession. Mara looked toward Gwen. She does not represent this property. Gwen stepped to the edge of the driveway. The association has no record of her closing. Mara removed another document. A county seal appeared at the top. McKay unfolded the deed. The address matched the mansion. The owner field listed Mara Ellison. The recording date preceded the moving truck. McKay read the first page again. Property ownership is confirmed. Gwen shook her head. We never received a closing packet. Mara held the folder against the hood. Were you supposed to receive one? Gwen looked toward Ruth. Ruth remained on the grass. The board monitors ownership changes, Gwen said. McKay turned toward Ruth. Does the association approve private sales? Ruth shifted the phone between her hands. Not exactly. Gwen answered before McKay could ask again. We maintain community records. Ruth did not correct her. McKay returned to the tablet. Elise, verify the caller's authority over this address. The communications center went quiet. Elise opened the original call. Caller roll showed HOA president. Caller capacity showed authorized property representative. The authority basis field was empty. No management agreement had been attached. No owner authorization appeared. No board resolution covered Mara's parcel. Elise moved the cursor across the blank field. The form does not show supporting documentation. Gwen heard the response through McKay's radio. I am the association president. Mara removed a stapled section from the folder. The Ashford Glen Covenant appeared on the first page. She placed it beside the deed. McKay read the marked paragraph. The association controlled common landscaping. It controlled the clubhouse. It controlled shared roads. Private driveways remained under the homeowner's authority. Private vehicles remained outside association control. Gwen looked at the document. That is not how we have handled things. A phone rang inside Mara's folder. Mara answered. Attorney Brooke Halstead spoke through the speaker. She confirmed the deed number. She confirmed the recording date. She confirmed the association was not part of the closing. Brooke emailed the certified covenant section to McKay. A second copy went to dispatch. No purchase price was mentioned. No other property was discussed. McKay asked Elise to review the caller status again. Elise requested a supervisor. Paige moved closer with her live stream. Gwen remained near the driveway. I had reason to be concerned. What did you see? Mara asked. Gwen looked toward the Rolls-Royce. I saw you using a vehicle I did not believe was yours. Paige's phone captured the sentence. Mara kept both hands beside the folder. You did not believe it. Gwen looked toward the gathered neighbors. I made an assumption based on what I knew. Ruth unlocked her phone. She crossed the street. The crowd opened around her. Ruth stopped beside McKay. I sent her something yesterday. She opened the email. The timestamp showed 10:26 that morning. The message stated that Ashford Glen did not receive private closing documents. It stated that the board did not approve private buyers. McKay read the message. Did Gwen receive this before calling? Yes. Gwen stepped toward Ruth. You do not speak for the full board. Ruth held the phone in place. I wrote the policy answer. McKay photographed the email. Brooke received a forwarded copy. The dispatch supervisor entered the incident. The caller capacity field opened. Authorized property representative disappeared. A new status replaced it. Reporting neighbor. McKay requested the authority basis. Elise read the field aloud. None provided. The theft code changed to pending closure. Mara's registration remained on the hood. Her name remained on the deed. Neither document had changed. The status of the person accusing her had. The dispatch supervisor ordered the records preserved. The call audio entered the file. The caller capacity history entered the file. Ruth's email entered the file. Page saved the original live stream. McKay returned Mara's license. On his tablet, Gwen's caller status changed again. No authority over affected property. The theft code closed at 5:12. The final disposition read unfounded. Mara received no citation. The Rolls-Royce remained in her driveway. McKay photographed the final caller status. No authority over affected property. Page ended the live stream. She saved the complete recording. Ruth forwarded her email to Brooke Halstead. The dispatch center preserved every field change. Gwen returned to her porch. Her association badge remained clipped to her blouse. The external review began the next morning. Brooke placed the call intake on the first page. Gwen had identified herself as HOA president. Elise Warren had selected authorized property representative. The authority basis field was empty. No homeowner authorization existed. No management agreement existed. No board resolution covered Mara's property. The review opened McKay's body camera recording. Mara's registration matched her license. The vehicle identification number matched the Rolls-Royce. No stolen report appeared. The detention continued because Gwen still held caller authority inside the system. Ruth's email appeared next. It had been sent before Gwen called police. The message stated that Ashford Glen did not approve private sales. Page's livestream provided Gwen's own statement. I made an assumption based on what I knew. The sentence entered the association record. A special board meeting was scheduled. Gwen sat at the head table. Mara sat near the aisle. She carried no ownership folder. Brooke placed 3 documents before the board. The covenant came first. The dispatch chronology came second. Ruth's email came third. The acting chair read the review finding. Gwen had used her association title to claim authority over private property. The association had granted her no such authority. The board voted by written ballot. Gwen lost the presidency. Her complaint portal account was disabled. Her association email address was closed. Her authority to contact police for Ashford Glen was removed. A second vote barred her from any board or committee position for 5 years. The association letterhead was collected from her table. Gwen pushed the remaining papers toward the acting chair. She removed the badge from her blouse. The badge stayed on the table when she left. Ruth received a formal censure. The minutes recorded when she sent the policy email. They recorded when she finally showed it at the driveway. She remained secretary under review. Her future objections had to be entered into the written minutes. Page lost administrator access to the neighborhood media page. Her original live stream stayed online. A correction appeared above it. The correction linked to the police disposition. It linked to the HOA minutes. Calvin's statement remained in the preserved video. No separate case was opened against him. His words stayed attached to his name. The police department sustained Mara's complaint. Elise lost authority to classify property calls without supervisor review. McKay entered remedial training. He could not handle ownership disputes alone during the review period. The finding did not accuse him of making the original report. It recorded that he continued the detention after ownership matched. Ashford Glen issued a written correction. The correction went to every address that had received the theft alert. It identified Mara as the legal homeowner. It identified Mara as the registered vehicle owner. It stated that Gwen had no authority over either property. It stated that the theft report was unfounded. Mara did not attend the mailing. She did not join the board. She did not accept a committee position. Ashford Glen changed its complaint policy. HOA titles no longer created legal standing. Every police contact required an authority basis. Private driveways were listed outside association control. Private vehicles were listed outside association control. Public accusations required documented observed conduct. The dispatch system changed with it. Caller roll became one field. Legal authority became another. A title could fill the first field. It could not fill the second. Theft calls required a stolen report. They accepted owner confirmation. They accepted forced entry. They accepted a plate mismatch. Suspicion alone opened none of those paths. 3 months later, Mara placed groceries inside the Rolls-Royce. The leather folder remained inside the glove compartment. Across town, a dispatcher received another HOA complaint. Caller roll showed board member. Authority over the property showed none provided. Observed theft showed known. The theft code button remained gray. A message appeared beneath it. Document the caller's authority. The dispatcher returned the call to information status. No patrol unit was sent under a theft code. Mara closed the passenger door. The folder stayed inside the car. This time, the person making the accusation had to bring the proof. This story is fictional.